Murder House. Now here's a video game. You might be saying to yourself, Jackafur, why are you reviewing a game that came out 3 years ago? Haven't a million people done this already? Well, you're probably right. But here's the thing. I get in these ruts. It's hard being an almost 40-year-old man who has a wizard beard, who has the taste in video games that I do. I tend to get in these slumps. Can't find any games to play, and I'm really picky. And I mean, can you blame me? Look at some of the releases that come out. It's just dumpster fire after dumpster fire. But that's besides the point. The point of this video is sort of a review, but more like a happy little accident that I just happened to stumble upon this game. So anyway, one day I stumbled upon this video. 4 hours of modern Resident Evil clones by Avalanche Reviews. I make a list of games that appear in the videos that appeal to me, and I decide I'll stream a couple of these. And actually at first, Murder House was kind of low priority for me. I was much more interested in Evil Tonight and Nightmare Decay. So one day, after I get done streaming Nightmare Decay, I ask my chat, what should I play next? And well, this is the response I got. What's the edgiest name you have on that list of clones? Alright, here we go. Let's take a look. I have a Steam category called Resident Evil Clones. We have Back in 1995, which has mixed reviews. Evil Tonight, which is like a 2D Resident Evil. It seems kind of cool. Heaven Dust, Lake Haven, Murder House. That's a pretty edgy name. Murder House. Song of Horror, Them and Us, and Tormented Souls. Murder House is probably the most edgy shit I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, let's play Murder House. Okay, that was easy. And to my surprise, this is the favorite game I have on the list. And it really stole the show on my stream, I feel like. It's funny, it's pretty scary, and it's a bit of a meme, dude. So this game is split into 2 sections. The prologue and the main campaign. The prologue is 100% worth doing. I recommend that you don't skip it. It's short, just play it. So what's going on with this game? Well, it's 1985, and your mother is forcing you to make memories by getting your picture taken with the local Easter Bunny at the mall. Now this is like an in real life trope. An uncanny and horrifying man in a rabbit costume. And some evil adult is forcing their child to take a picture with it. Honestly, there's just no way that the adults don't know this is scary as hell. I mean, who in their right mind would want to sit with these guys? Look at them. What were they thinking?
Spooky clowns scare me!
And then sometime later, it seems we've fallen asleep and awoken alone. No mother in sight, all alone in the mall after closing. Fun fact, my mom has totally left me alone at the arcade in the mall when I was like 8 years old. All the time. Super responsible human being. I definitely cried one time, not gonna lie. She was gone a little too long. So, here's the main reason why I told you to play the prologue. We're this snazzy young man with a mullet. And I've honestly had some pretty bad haircuts when I was younger, so I can relate.
Barbaric! Just a moment!
By the way, this is the first time that I've really tried to make a YouTube video, like a review, like a serious thing. And there are some spoilers I want to get into, because they're funny. So, here's your warning. If you haven't played this game, go play it. It's like a 2-hour game, and then you can come back and watch. And then we can enjoy the spoilers together. That's all. Thank you. Let's continue the video. Man, Jesus Christ, we're already 5 minutes into this video, and I thought I was gonna be having issues talking about this game for a long period of time, but geez. So anyway, let's hurry this up a little bit. So you're a dumb kid in a mall, and you're trying to find your way out. Gameplay is mostly like a Resident Evil game or like Silent Hill. The camera system especially reminds me of Silent Hill. It's like kind of on a dolly, it's not really a fixed camera. There is a first person mode in this game, but I opted to play with the dolly camera system. I'll discuss some of the gameplay features later. I just thought the camera and the graphics would sort of stand out, so I wanted to touch on that. For now, I sort of want to focus on the story stuff and the funny stuff that happens in this game. Now we're running around and we come across a missing child poster. Adds to the atmosphere. Very spooky. Nice touch. We also come across this key. Finally get out of this hellish mall. And finally, we make it to this hallway. A long stretch. What will we find at the end? Oh, Jesus Christ! Now, I am hamming it up a little bit. This isn't the scariest thing ever, but it is a little unsettling, especially with the kid screaming and the camera view. Sort of reminds me of Deadly Premonition. The whole thing, really, the whole sequence where you're running with the split camera and then you have to hide. Very interesting. Definitely reminds me of Deadly Premonition. Now, I did say I kind of overreacted, but I'll show you my live reaction. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I was, you know, afraid for my life, but I did finding it a tad unsettling. Silent Hill-esque, oh my god! Holy shit, now it's fucking... what's that game? It's a, Twin Peaks ripoff? Oh my god. For the most part, you won't be fighting your way through encounters in this game. In fact, you'll mostly be hiding when you see this crazed madman. Normally, I'm not a big fan of survival horror with little to no combat. I'm not a big fan of Amnesia, for example, but it doesn't really bother me in this game. I think that's mostly due to the fact that it's really not that hard to get away from the killer, find a hiding spot. The tension is there, but the killer never feels like he overstays his welcome, which I think helps out a lot in this case. The only real complaint I even have is during my first playthrough, this ambient noise or music, whatever you're hearing right now, was building up and up. It was just kept going higher and higher, and it was in the beginning of the game when I was still trying to find the first key, and it was really annoying, and in fact I had to mute it when I was streaming it originally. I think it was bugged because on my second playthrough I did not have this issue, so I think this is just some weird edge case. So the audio in this game can be a little grating, but I think you should forgive it. It's not that bad. So you know the drill, right? Find the flashlight, pretend we're in Silent Hill, play some spooky knot music, find a key item that'll open a thing, that'll give you a key, that opens another thing, that gives you a clue to a puzzle so we can move on with our lives. So after successfully solving a string of not too hard but rewarding puzzles, we run into our first non-Easter Bunny person, the janitor. We tell him about our little Easter problem, and he assures us he'll take care of it. After a while, the lights go out, and well, all we can do is hide.
Spooky clowns scare me!
Man, what a start to a game. I gotta admit, at first, I was a little bit skeptical. When I got to this point, I was hooked. A nice homage. Homage? Whatever, homage to survival horror and schlocky slasher movies, featuring some of the worst video filters I've ever seen. Man, what a dream. Fast forward to present day, 1988. I'm currently 3 years old. And man, I'm getting old. We're introduced to our heroes, a local TV news crew doing a documentary on the Easter Ripper serial killer at his abandoned home. In present day, the Easter Ripper has long been tried, sentenced to death, and executed for his crimes of child murder and torture. Our heroes arrive at the abandoned house, and they include Tom, the guy who wrote the Doom Bible, Gary Weinstein, local producer and sex pest, Punished Dana, used to work at the news desk but was put on this detail after an incident involving a poodle-like creature.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
And our main protagonist, Emma, a frumpy intern who seems to have sprained her tendon. Gary, the producer, paid the house's real estate agent $50 so that we could film here, but he's a no-show, and the doors are locked. Gary then tasks Emma with finding a way in. And after searching around the property for a while, it seems like our only option is to commit an old-fashioned B&E. So now the game has this sort of introductory phase, where the killer doesn't show up. It's like a nice little introduction to the gameplay and the house itself. The TV crew will give you some minor puzzles to solve, and it's a good opportunity to take note of where some locked doors are, and maybe some puzzles you can't solve yet are.
What are you waiting around for? Turn on those lights and let's get rolling.
The power's out.
We'll turn it back on.
And you have free reign to look around the whole house, and in fact the house itself isn't very big. It only really consists of the basement, the first floor, the second floor, and the attic. You never really feel lost because, one, the house isn't very big, and you get a nice little introduction where you can kind of just look around and get used to the feel and the layout of the house. The game itself is pretty short, clocking in at around 2 hours, but I think the pacing in this game is perfect. I think the small play area and the length of the game are a huge plus. I never felt overly frustrated or felt like the game was going to be a slog like I did with a game like Them and Us or something. It's pretty good. Gameplay is mostly like a Resident Evil or a Silent Hill game. The camera system reminds me of Silent Hill more than anything, like I mentioned before. You'll find various items and keys to further your progress throughout the game. The puzzles themselves aren't exactly brain melters, and usually the pacing in this game is pretty good. The house and play area, like I said before, aren't very big, and I think this is a big strength for the game. There's no map, and you don't really need one, because the game takes place entirely in a pretty normal sized house. Normally I would take points off for not having a map, but I never really felt lost or unsure where to go next. Evil Tonight I had a huge issue with not having a map. I was constantly going, where was that stuffed bear again? Where was that piano again? Where's that locked drawer? In a game like Evil Tonight, although not particularly a big game, I found it to be quite cumbersome, because I was constantly backtracking without a map and trying to figure out where the heck that stuffed bear was for way too long. In this game, you're not really going to run into that issue. Now, the game's not perfect, obviously. Sometimes the music, and especially the voice acting, can be kind of grating. Some of the voiceovers sound like the voice actors delivered their lines through a coffee filter or something.
You're lucky you have this after the incident with the poodle.
That could have happened to anyone.
All right, let's get started.
I mean, there's probably an argument to be made that kind of adds to the atmosphere, but sometimes it's a little much. The audio can be grating, but it really adds to the tension as well. When the killer shows up, it's usually met with some droning synth beat or something. I mean, that's the best I can describe it, at least.
Spooky clowns scare me!
Paired with its disturbing imagery, I think Murder House nails the horror in survival horror very well. And I mean, talk about tension. During this section, when the killer appeared, I had enough anxiety that I kept running around in circles trying to get away from him. I was trying to find my way back into the basement, but because of the tension and anxiety, I sort of forgot where it was, and this was on my second playthrough. As far as controls go, I mean, it's tank controls. If your IQ is at least 100, it isn't going to be a problem for you. I've read some game journals call the controls unruly, but I have no idea what they're talking about. I think the controls are much better than a game like Them and Us. In Them and Us, the controls just don't feel as responsive. Turning your character feels slow, and getting spacing and timing right for your shots feels much more clumsy and slow in something like Resident Evil, or even in this game, I never felt hindered by this game's controls. With that said, sometimes the camera can lock into annoying positions, but this never annoyed me enough that I thought it took away from the experience. A good example of this is more in the prologue, earlier in the recording, where the camera seems to lock facing the character. This is an easy fix though. There is a button you can press to go into first person mode to see where you're going, and there's another button, and on my controller it was L2 I believe, where it would kind of fix the camera. So, not a huge deal. Graphically, some people might think the low poly look is nostalgia bait, but I think the game is stylized enough that it doesn't come off as just some indie trash. I know a lot of indie games fall into this like pixel shit trap, but Murder House doesn't come off as nostalgia bait to me. I think low poly really adds to the dingy look and really adds to the tension of the game. And, just in case you want to make the game look even worse, you can use some of these filters. I prefer to just use the PlayStation filter, but there are a few more, including a VHS filter, 16mm, black and white, and even this rental one that makes the game look really shit. This game has some pretty funny moments too. Gary and Dana have some pretty good banter, and Gary has a few lines that'll raise a few eyebrows. Damn, this dude's
It's
smoking.
a great opportunity for you.
He's like unzipping his pants. This is a great fucking opportunity for you, fucking, whatever your name is.
Put in a little extra effort, and you can really get ahead. If you know what I mean.
Oh my god. He's smoking and unzipping his pants right now. This is a great fucking opportunity for you, alright? Now take your top off. Anyway, let's check back in with our heroes. So Gary thinks the story is going to put people to sleep and wants to spice things up a little bit. He decides to pull a Zach Baggins and falsify some paranormal activity with the old bedsheet ghost costume trick.
2 years later, many say he still haunts the home he grew up in. What was that? Tom, did you get that?
So now everyone has worked up a hunger, and since we won't sleep with Gary, he decides we should go pick up some pizzas. Unfortunately for us, our van has been totally dismantled. No pizzas for us, I'm afraid. We rush back to tell everyone the bad news, and Dana informs the viewers at home of the great tragedy that has just been bestowed upon them.
This is Dana Turner on location. I've just been informed that we're stuck here. Someone has wrecked our van and we can't get our fucking pizza lunch promised by my producer. Fucking pizza
I've lost.
lunch.
I've lost. Won't stop hurting.
So now that our pizza lunch has been compromised, things really start to ramp up. Dana's fed up, and Gary tells us to run off and find Tom. We find Tom in the basement. He tells us it seems we're stuck here, gives you the key, and tells us to try and figure out what door it opens. We run back to Dana and Gary, and this happens.
Help me! There's somebody else in here!
Help yourself. Oh my god! Oh my god! Jesus Christ! Then this thing happens, which I think is really good game design. You're sort of cut off by the Easter killer. He sort of funnels you up towards the stairs to this locked door. Now during my first playthrough I thought, man, I really hope this key I just got opens this door. And it does. It adds a nice layer of tension, and for me it didn't really feel like I was being railroaded or anything. I thought it was a really nice touch that made out for a high tension / scary moment. Nice touch. After escaping the attic, we make our way back downstairs. We find Dana's head, and we find an egg inside of her mouth. It seems the Easter Bunny killer wants us to partake in a sick Easter egg hunt. We also find this gun! Sometime later, we run into Gary, who drops this bombshell on us.
Dana is dead.
Yeah, no shit, Gary. Try to keep up, alright?
Help me find an exit.
Never mind, Gary. So you know the drill by now, right? Find a thing that gives us access to a key that opens a door that gives us another thing that unlocks the way into this horrifying dungeon where we find a clue to a puzzle that will unlock the way out of this hellish house. Yeah, so, the dungeon. Now, this section, some viewers might find a little disturbing.
Here we go.
I was born ready.
The
There you
fuck
go.
down!
That
Get him!
motherfucker on the ground.
Fuck you! Fuck down! What is this? Jesus
Get the
fucking!
fuck down.
You got a little boy with a mask on you. What the fuck is wrong with you? You sick fuck!
Oh,
You got doll heads. What the fuck is this? Paper mache faces. What the fuck?
right, Jesus. What the
God damn it! What the fuck is down? What is? You got a dungeon?
You need, you need Jesus.
So let's just move on. We find some more items to advance the game, and we do our little Easter egg hunt. Find all the eggs, and we have our final standoff with the Easter Ripper Killer, who I've been calling the Easter Bunny Killer this whole time by mistake. I'll skip the actual last fight, but there's one more thing I wanted to show you. After the fight, we get a little help from an old friend, who I was very happy to see. Did God intervene? What's going on? There's zombies?
Dude, it's the kid with the mullet. Yo, yo!
Oh my god, the greatest twist.
It's the kid with the mullet, dude.
Man, what do I even say? A short but sweet survival horror game. I'm not a big fan of giving ratings to a game, but I give Murder House a fucking pizza lunch out of 10. Hey, it's me again. The local asshole neighborhood Jackafur. First off, if you made it this far, I want to say thanks for watching. This little outro might be kind of cringe, so I'm sorry, but here it goes. I've been stumbling through my life for the past 20 or so years. Ever since I got out of high school, honestly. Like I said before, I'm an almost 40-year-old man with a wizard beard. I've been kind of struggling with my career path. I've had a lot of jobs, done in-home sales, been a teacher, dealt cards at a casino, I've been a courier, and most recently, I was doing sterile processing at a hospital. I've been struggling to figure out what I want to do with my life basically since day one. All these jobs I've had always end up turning into an existential nightmare that I feel like I need to escape from. And well, I'm left asking myself again, what do I want to do with my life? Like, what am I even passionate about? And honestly, I don't even really know. Outside my wife, my cats, and various hobbies that I don't even really do anymore, the only thing I'm passionate about, and this sounds lame as hell, is video games. And if you know me, then you know I'm pretty opinionated about them, and can really get me going. So maybe I should give streaming and making other content like YouTube videos another shot? I don't know. In the meantime, I'm gonna just get a part-time job so I can spend as much time on being a content creator as I can. Plus, at least that way I'm not a total neat. So if you like this content, please give me a like and a subscribe or follow. And maybe come to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Jackafur. Anyway, plan for now is to stream 4 to 5 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday. I'm also going to do one video a month on YouTube for now, at least until I get better at editing videos. Hopefully this video and its editing weren't too cliched or 2008-ish. I'll try to get better. Anyway, thanks again, and I hope you, the viewer, have a nice day.